Making headlines this hour, President and First Lady returns to Male following a state visit to Singapore, undertaken at the invitation of Singaporean President. President extends his sincere appreciation to the government and people of Singapore for the warm hospitality extended during his state visit. And Vice President states that the biggest barrier for SIDS to achieving sustainable development is debt. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. Welcome to PSM News in English with me, Hafiz Abdusattar. And now the news in detail. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz and First Lady Madam Sajida Mohamad returns to Male following a state visit to Singapore undertaken at the invitation of Tharman Shanmugaratnam, President of Singapore. During the visit, President Dr. Muiz held discussions with President Shanmugaratnam and Prime Minister Lawrence Wong on strengthening bilateral ties. Several memorandum of understanding MOUs were signed in areas including capacity building, environmental development, education and collaboration with the Singapore Cooperation Enterprise. Two key agreements were also signed, one with Henley and Partners on a residence by investment program and another with APM SPV Private Limited for Project Solar City. As this year marks 50 years of diplomatic relations between the Maldives and Singapore, President Dr. Muiz presented a commemorative book to President Shanmugaratnam, reflecting on 5 decades of partnership and development. The two leaders also unveiled commemorative stamps to celebrate the milestone. At the Maldives-Singapore Business Forum, President Dr. Muiz recognized individuals and companies for their contributions to strengthening commercial ties. The forum also served to promote investment opportunities aligned with the government's Vision 2040. The President and First Lady also met with members of the Maldivian community in Singapore, and visit included tours of key institutions such as the Institute of Technical Education, the Urban Redevelopment Authority Tours Board, the Peranakan Museum and the Singapore Food Agency. According to the President's office, this inaugural state visit underscores a renewed commitment to deepening Maldives-Singapore cooperation. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz extends his sincere appreciation to President of Singapore, Tharman Shanmugaratnam, and Lawrence Wong, Prime Minister and Minister for Finance of Singapore, as well as to the government and people of Singapore for the warm hospitality extended during his state visit, describing the visit as an occasion that marked a new chapter in the enduring friendship between the Maldives and Singapore. President Muiz and First Lady Sajida Mohamad undertook the state visit to Singapore on 29th June at the special invitation of President Tharman Shanmugaratnam. President Dr. Muiz, in a post on his X account, expressed his pleasure that the visit witnessed the signing of several memoranda of understandings between the Maldives and Singapore. These include agreements on the environment and sustainability, higher education, technical and vocational training, collaboration with the Singapore Cooperation Enterprise and capacity building programs through study visits. He also noted that the Maldives-Singapore Business Forum, which was attended by over 250 investor representatives, highlighted promising opportunities for trade and investment. Highlighting the milestone of 50 years since the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries, the President expressed a confidence that the visit would herald a new chapter in Maldives-Singapore relations. As the visit concluded, President Dr. Muiz stated that he departs with the spirit of the meaningful discussions held during his time in Singapore, which reaffirmed the shared commitment of both nations to strengthening a bilateral cooperation. Vice President Hussein Mohammad Latif states that for many developing countries, particularly most small island developing states, the biggest barrier to achieving sustainable development is debt. He made these remarks while addressing the Debt Sustainability Support Service event, which took place on the sidelines of the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development, FFD4. During his address, the Vice President further stated that this debt was not for the result of mismanagement, but rather the result of a systematic failure of the international financial architecture. He emphasized the importance of financial reform, beginning with SIDS, highlighting the need for SIDS to have a fiscal space to invest in development, access to concessional finance, and develop a more sustainable, manageable debt portfolio. Additionally, the Vice President detailed Maldives' support of the SIDS Debt Sustainability Support Service and urged the service to be put into operation at the earliest, stating that the service can offer solutions that reflects the needs of SIDS, serve as a hub for knowledge and best practice, and support innovative homegrown efforts without creating new debt. Vice President Hussein Mohammad Latif was joined by the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown, Under Secretary General for Economic and Social Affairs Lee Junhua, and Under Secretary General and Higher Representative for the Least Developed Countries, Landlocked Developing Countries and Small Island Developing States, Rabab Fatima, during this event. Non-resident Ambassador of Maldives to Switzerland, Dr. Salma Rashid, presents her letter of credence to the President of Swiss Federation, Karin Keller-Sutter, and the newly appointed non-resident ambassador, extraordinary and plenipotentiary of the Maldives to the Switzerland, Dr. Salma Rashid, has presented her letter of credence to the President of the Swiss Confederation, Karin Keller-Sutter, at a ceremony held at the Federal Palace. During the ceremony, Ambassador Dr. Salma conveyed greetings from President Dr. Mohamed Muiz and the people of Maldives to the President and the people of Switzerland. Ambassador Dr. Salma further expressed her commitment to work closely with the government of Switzerland during her tenure, with a renewed focus on enhancing a bilateral and multilateral cooperation between the two countries. The President of the Swiss Confederation congratulated Ambassador Dr. Salma Rashid and assured cooperation by Switzerland in developing bilateral relations between the two countries. Ambassador Dr. Salma was accompanied at the ceremony by her spouse Jonathan Burton and counselor at the Permanent Mission of the Maldives to the United Nations and other international organizations at Geneva, Adam Hamid. The Minister for Tourism and Environment says that the government will deliver on its vision to establish Maldives as a globally renowned destination for halal tourism.
Minister Tariq Ibrahim, speaking on PSM News Rajamia program, said the global halal tourism sector generated around $274 billion in revenue last year, while the figure is expected to be even higher this year. The minister said that Maldives, as a 100% Muslim country, could tap a huge portion of this revenue by its entry into the halal tourism sector. Minister Tariq said Maldives, being one of the foremost tourist destinations in the world, can exploit its current position by tapping the halal tourism market, attract more tourists to its shores, and further enhance its tourism brand. The Maldivian government has decided to develop halal tourism in 5 regions across the Maldives, offering grant concessions for those interested in investing in these areas. The government will pursue halal tourism in Ha Alifu, Ha Dalo, Shaviani, Ta and Lama atolls. In order to attract investors to introduce halal tourism in the region, the lease acquisition cost for the designated islands will be reduced by an additional 20%, and flexible payment options will be offered for the lease acquisition fee payment, such that lease acquisition will be paid in the first quarter of the 5th and 6th years. The government has also decided to waive the land rent for the remainder of the grace period instead of deferring it in case the islands or lagoons that are completed, opened and operated before the grace period ends. With these concessions, 31 projects in these 5 areas have been opened for open bidding and closed bidding. The Ministry of Tourism and Environment said that one project from each atoll will be identified from the Halal Tourism model, with the deadline for bid submission open until the 1st of September. Halal Tourism is a service designed to cater to the needs of Muslim travelers and to provide hospitality to all types of guests. The government plans to implement this concept during the resort development and also the operations phase.
The Ministry of Finance and Planning releases data showing a sharp increase in green tax revenue, collecting more than $65.5 million during the first 22 weeks of the year, as tourism arrivals increased by 15% in June compared to figures from the same month last year.
The tax figures published in the Finance Ministry's weekly fiscal development report indicate that green tax earnings climbed from $33.89 million in the corresponding period last year to $65.5 million this year, effectively doubling income generated through the nationwide environmental levy. Whereas data released from the Ministry of Tourism and Environment indicate 141,772 arrivals for the month of June, lifting the cumulative total for the first half of the year to 1,108,130. That figure marks a 9.1% increase compared to the same period last year. Driven by strong demand from key markets in Asia and Europe, tourist arrivals to the Maldives were led by China with 141,162 visitors, followed by Russia with 126,780, the United Kingdom with 108,371, and Italy and Germany with 86,891 and 82,188 respectively. Reflecting the steady influx of visitors, accommodation patterns showed a clear preference for resorts, which hosted 72.4% of tourists, while guest houses and hotels accounted for 22.5% and 2.8% respectively. With an annual target of 2.3 million visitors, government officials say the country is on track to meet that goal. The total already surpasses 1.1 million, and authorities expect a boost in traffic with the scheduled opening of a new passenger terminal at Vilena International Airport on the 26th of July. The green tax, established in October 2016, was introduced to help finance environmental protection efforts across the country. It is imposed on tourists staying in various forms of accommodation, including resorts, hotels, guest houses, and tourist vessels. Rates are determined by the type of accommodation. Guests at resorts, safari vessels, and hotels are charged $12 per person per night, while those lodging in guest houses pay $6. Children under the age of 2 are exempt. Registered establishments are required to submit monthly statements and remit payment by the 28th day of the following month. Growth in green tax receipts has coincided with a notable rise in tourist arrivals.
The Maldives Marketing and Public Relations Corporation (MMPRC), in partnership with Booking.com, holds a workshop aimed at enhancing the digital visibility and operational sophistication of guest house businesses throughout the country in a strategic effort to bolster its rapidly expanding guest house sector. The workshop, convened at the State Electric Company Auditorium, organized followed the recent signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the two parties. The session focused on equipping proprietors and managers with marketing strategies, operational insight, and digital tools to improve performance on Booking.com's platform and boost overall guest house bookings. According to MMPRC, the program featured interactive sessions led by experts from the global travel platform, offering participants tailored guidance on optimizing their property listings for enhanced visibility and engagement. The agency noted that the attendees were introduced to prevailing trends across the hospitality sector and explored a suite of technologies aimed at improving competitiveness and revenue generation. MMPRC added that the emphasis on digital marketing aligned with the broader strategic objective to equip guest house operators for the evolving demands of online travel marketplaces. That goal aligns with the terms of MOU signed on 26th of February and effective from 1st March through January 2027. The multi-year agreement sets the framework for coordinated promotional efforts to elevate the Maldives' standing as a global destination, highlighting not only its natural beauty but also the cultural richness and diversity that distinguish its tourism offerings. In reaffirming this commitment, MMPRC highlighted the importance of a sustained engagement with key tourism stakeholders. The agency noted the initiatives such as the workshop represent a long-term strategy to foster growth across the guest house segment. The Tourism Promotion Agency is also preparing to expand the scope of the partnership through targeted training in supply chain optimization and further joint campaigns that reinforce the national tourism agenda. The Health Protection Agency reminds tobacco vendors of the legislative amendment mandating a special license for tobacco sales will come into effect from 17th July. The opportunity to obtain the special tobacco license through the government's online portal OneGov opened on 17th April this year, and the deadline is set to expire on 17th of July. HPA, in a statement, warned that tobacco sales without acquiring the special license would be a legal offence after the expiration of the deadline. The General Regulation on Tobacco Control has empowered the Ministry of Health to impose a fine of $3,243 for first-time offenders, and the fine would double to $6,486 for each violation thereafter. The regulation also grants the authorities the power to withhold business permits. In recent months, the government has intensified measures to combat tobacco use, reinforcing its commitment to preventive health care. One such measure was the ratification of an amendment to the Tobacco Control Act on 21st May. The legislation establishes a generational ban on tobacco use and will take effect in November. It prohibits the sale of tobacco products to individuals born on or after January 1, 2007, effectively phasing out tobacco use among future generations. The government is also taking steps to restrict access to tobacco products. These include expanding tobacco-free zones, banning the import and possession of equipment used to manufacture e-cigarettes and vapes, raising the legal age for purchasing tobacco to 21, banning tobacco advertising and sponsorships, and increasing taxes on tobacco products. The Central Bank Maldives Monetary Authority invites applications for 35 higher education scholarships in Islamic finance. The MMA Tambil Islamic Finance Initiative is a strategic program launched with the aim of strengthening and advancing the Islamic finance sector in the Maldives. The initiative will focus on the long-term development of capacity within the industry by facilitating education, awareness, and specialized training programs. By prioritizing financial literacy, awareness, and capacity development, this initiative is expected to contribute to the aim of transforming the Maldives into a regional hub for Islamic finance. Under this initiative, MMA has invited applications for 35 different programs from Malaysia's the International Center for Education in Islamic Finance and the University Islami Selangor. The scholarships are open for Maldivians only, and programs available are 5 fully funded and 5 partially funded opportunities in Executive Masters in Islamic Finance by INSEF University, Malaysia, 5 opportunities in Micro Certification from EMIF by INSEF University, Malaysia, 20 opportunities in Certificate in Sharia Economics for Banking and Finance, CSEBF by UIS Malaysia. The eligibility criteria for students applying for the scholarship are posted on the MMA website. MMA said each application is limited to one full-time scholarship program. MMA further reiterated that the scholarship selection process will be based on a combination of merit and financial need. Applicants may be considered for full or partial funding, subject to an additional evaluation process that includes a thorough assessment of financial need and social background. Interested students can submit applications via the links posted on MMA's website before midnight on 17th July. U.S. President Donald Trump suggests that his efficiency department should take a look at the subsidies that Elon Musk's companies have received in order to save the federal government big money.
Trump's comments come after Musk, the world's richest man, renewed his criticism of Trump's sweeping tax cut and spending bill, vowing to unseat lawmakers who backed it after campaigning on limiting government spending. Trump previously threatened to cut Musk's government subsidies and contracts when their relationship dissolved into an all-out brawl on social media in early June over the bill, which nonpartisan analysts have said would add about $3 trillion to the U.S. debt. Musk's businesses include rocket company and government contractor SpaceX, which has about $22 billion in federal contracts, and its satellite unit Starlink. His rift with Trump has also caused volatility for Tesla, with shares of the electric car company losing about $150 billion of its market value on June 5th, the largest single-day decline in the company's history, though it has since recovered. Tesla shares trading in Frankfurt tumbled 5% on Tuesday. Tesla's shares dropped for a sixth straight month in Sweden and Denmark in June, underscoring the challenges the EV maker faces as competitors gain market share and CEO Elon Musk's popularity declines. Tesla is expected to report another fall in quarterly deliveries on Wednesday as the backlash against CEO Musk's political views and competitive pressures continue to drag on demand.
Yahya Saree, spokesperson for the Houthi military, says the group has launched a missile from Yemen toward Israeli territory.
Yahya Saree said the group carried out 4 operations targeting an airport and other sensitive Israeli targets. Israel's defense minister Israel Katz vowed to retaliate against Iran-aligned Houthis for the attack. Israel has threatened Yemen's Houthi movement, which has been attacking Israel in what it says is solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza, with a naval and air blockade if its attacks on Israel persist. Since the start of Israel's genocide in Gaza in October 2023, the Houthis, who control most of Yemen, have been firing at Israel and at shipping in the Red Sea, disrupting global trade. Most of the dozens of missiles and drones they have launched have been intercepted or fallen short. Israel has carried out a series of retaliatory strikes.
Mayor Ihor Terkov says a Russian drone attack set a building in central Kharkiv on fire and damaged others.
Local emergency services published video footages showing firefighters extinguishing flames at the site. Reuters was able to confirm the location of the video from the characteristics of buildings, windows seen in the video that matched foul images and satellite imagery of the area. Reuters was not able to independently verify the date when the video was filmed. 2 people familiar with the decision said the strike came as the Pentagon halted some shipments of air defense missiles and other precision munitions to Ukraine over concerns that U.S. stockpiles are too low.
Seven-time Wimbledon champion Novak Djokovic made to work hard after a strong start as he began his bid for the 25th Grand Slam title by beating unseeded Frenchman Alexander Muller 6-1, 6-7, 6-2, 6-2 to reach the second round of Wimbledon.
The 6th seed, who is aiming to equal Roger Federer's haul at the All-England club and move past Margaret Court in the all-time list of major champions, will take on British wildcard Dan Evans in the next round. Djokovic, who endured a poor year before lifting his 100th tour-level trophy in Geneva ahead of a run to the semi-finals of the French Open, powered through the opening set against Muller by winning 6 games on the trot. Muller put up much more of a fight in the next set, saving 5 break points to hold for 4-4 before forcing a tie-break where he raised his game again to battle from 2-5 down a draw level in the match. Having wrapped up the third set, Djokovic racked up a 4-2 advantage in the fourth set with an exquisite backhander winner, and there was no looking back from there as he completed the victory by holding to love.
To be quite frank, went from feeling my absolute best for set and a half to my absolute worst for about 45 minutes, whether it was a stomach bug or I don't know what it is, but yeah, just struggle with that. The energy kind of kicked back after some doctor's miracle pills. Yeah, I managed to finish the match on a good note, let's say.
Elsewhere, Gael Monfils knocked out French compatriot and 18th seed Hugo Humbert 6-4, 3-6, 6-7, 5th, 7-5, and 6-2.
US President Donald Trump takes to his social media platform Truth Social to promote a new brand of Victory perfume, the latest addition to a multi-$100 million empire stretching from golf clubs to merchandise.
Sandwiched between messages on global diplomacy and domestic politics on the Truth Social platform, a post by the U.S. president urges followers to buy his Victory 45 to 47 scent. The website extols its virtues as a perfume for patriots who never back down like President Trump. The perfume, one of a range of Trump-branded fragrances, retails at $249, a price which puts it in the same league as Chanel No. 5, one of the world's most iconic scents. Last month, Trump reported more than $600 million in income from crypto, golf clubs, licensing, and other ventures in a public financial disclosure.
And that's all we have for this hour. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant time ahead.
ಕೊಮ್ಮೆದುವಹಕು ಅಗ್ಗಡಿ ತಿರಿಹುಗ PSM ನ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್
අහාශය බුණාන
මේ සීසන්ගේ නවාරවන ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම්
මේ ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම්ගේ මෙහමානකේ රයිතු මජ්ලිහුගේ හෙම්බෙර් උතුරු දායරාගේ